Opinions and ideas expressed in the following Moraine Valley Broadcast Channel recording are those of its creators and do not represent the views of Moraine Valley Community College.
Welcome to This Made Me Laugh episode 18. We have
Jenna,
Brooklyn,
Ewelina,
Amayrani.
So my TV show was The Big Bang Theory, and I chose the episode, the Pants Alternative episode. I chose it because it is my favorite show, but I've seen every single episode, and the storyline keeps building throughout the series. I think the show is hilarious, and I really enjoy the characters and storylines. Two really brilliant scientists, Leonard and Sheldon, live in an apartment complex and is asked to give a speech later that day. The only problem is Sheldon has stage fright, and his group of friends, Leonard, Penny, Raj, and Howard, all come up with different ways to help him overcome his stage fright. At the ceremony, Sheldon gets drunk, and the speech ends up not going as well as planned. Things really get out of hand, and at the very end of the episode, it's a close-up of Sheldon saying, "Oh, Lord." And so the cast and crew, really, Johnny Galsecki is Leonard Hofstadter, Jim Parsons is Sheldon Cooper, Kaylee Kuko is Penny, Simon Hilberg is Howard Wolowitz, and Kunal Nayar is Raj Kuthaprali. The producers are Chuck Lowry and Bill Brady. Chuck Lowry was actually the producer of 2.5 Men too. And the way that the two shows really connect with each other is they're both set in their world. So it's basically like they're living the lives of each other, and it's like a romantic comedy really, because the characters fall in love with each other and they really just connect to each other. The tone uses a lot of sarcasm to make its comedy. Like, for example, Sheldon needs to be sung soft kitty when he is sick to fall asleep. And that's one of my favorite parts of the show. What else? So, mood, for example, there's a laugh track in the background, and it's a comedy. It's uplifting. The genre is a romantic comedy because all of the characters just really fall in love with each other throughout the series. In the very beginning of the series, it's very like you're just trying to get to know all of the characters and just how they correspond with each other. But later on in the series, it gets more where it's more drama, it's more crazy. It's just it's really what makes the comedy the best because the scientists really don't understand how to live life outside of the laboratory, and it's just fun. I just think so. The characters are very nerdy and uses sarcasm to either show how intelligent they are and also you guys.
Like kind of like awkward humor. I don't know what they're coming from, but it was overall, it was like that funny like awkwardness that made it laugh.
Yeah, definitely the awkward humor. It's like,
yeah.
Definitely, like, I feel like Sheldon is like awkward, and then when it shows him at the end, like, keeps on like drinking and he gets drunk, it's just like, why is that happening? Like, he shouldn't be doing
goes
that.
on stage and starts
right.
just like saying anything what comes out of his mouth.
Right, Sheldon is like that. He's a very not typical person, if you would say. That's what makes the show so weird, because it's based off of the life of Sheldon for the most part. So that's why I like it.
Yeah, there were some parts where I was like, oh, this is funny. Like, when they were, like, talking about X-Men or whatever, and they were, like, semen, I was like, oh, my God, this is so inappropriate, but so funny.
Or, like, his face expressions. I feel like that's what, like, you know, is so funny that makes him, like, you know.
Yeah, because he's, like, so like, serious.
Yeah, when they were trying to help him out with, like, trying to, like, do his speech, and there was, like, oh, like, they're helping him, and he's like, oh, okay, like, why are you guys doing this for me? Like, I got this. Like, I don't even want to.
Making sense, like, it's.
So I recommended White Chicks. That was probably by far like a great movie. FBI agents going undercover as two like basically two popular females. They basically want to become friends with everybody else and get to know their friends and like basically find out who's stealing the money, who's taking the money from charities, and actually like at the end they find out like who did it. It was actually like one of the girls that actually bullied the two popular females, and that's when like other girls and then the two popular girls hated them for like going to the like famous dances or whatever.
So I'd like to say that White Chicks was super funny. I like what Amayrani said, but I think the fun was that they dressed up like women, and had to totally change themselves into women, and they had to act like women, and the people just seemed to love them.
Yeah, just like they didn't. I mean, they knew that they were the two girls, but, like, just the way they were, like, acting towards, like, them, they're just like, okay, like, these are the sisters.
Yeah, and it's just funny, too. Funny to see everyone, like, thinking that they're actually girls when they are not. And there's this one part in there that they made fun of, like, being skinny or whatever. And, you know, like, when you, like, you know, the kids in Africa, they don't eat, so their stomachs, like, bloat up.
Right.
Whenever they made a joke in there about that, I thought it was so funny. But I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. I literally had to stop it. I was like, oh my God, I can't. Like, that is so bad.
Like, there's honestly, like, a lot of, like, funny parts in the movie. Like, my favorite part, honestly, was when, like, he has dairy at that one, like, occasion, and then he just goes to the bathroom, and they're all
when he
just
was with that man on dinner, and he was basically, like,
just farting, you know? Like, I was like, oh my God.
He was putting his, like, foot on the table, and he's like, look at my toes.
And then when they were in my car, and he's like, da-da-da-da-da-da. I've seen that meme all over the place, but I never knew it was from that movie.
Right.
When the sisters went out for, like, a dance-off, and they were, like, dancing, and it was just so, like, unfortunate how, like, okay, there's two, like, FBI agents dressed up as women, and they're just doing their own thing. They're doing all these flips on the floor, and these other people are just so surprised. They're like, okay, we didn't know that they could dance like that.
Right.
So I think that was really funny.
And the part where they had to walk in different dresses, what is that called? When
the runway?
Runway,
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
I thought that was so funny. And then the two girls who had to get back at them, and they dressed them up as swans.
Yeah.
I thought
picked Are We There Yet? So this movie connects me for a personal level because growing up seeing my parents divorce, it made me fall into the footsteps of how Lindsay and Kevin felt, seeing their mother going on different dates with men. I always grew up seeing my mom and dad together, and it was difficult seeing with them with other people and themselves. So basically, Are We There Yet was filmed in Portland, Oregon. The main character is Nick Pearson, a selfish person who only focuses on himself more than others. Everything in his life changes when he meets Suzanne. She's the mother of two kids, Lindsay and Kevin. Nick wasn't always been a fan of kids. Also, Lindsay and Kevin have never been a fan of their mother dating anyone. As Nick and Suzanne became friends, they began to have a connection towards each other. They had such a good connection till the moment she asked him to drive her kids to Vancouver. It became such a disaster for the two of them when they missed a plane on the train. Lindsay and Kevin were determined to turn into a trip into a nightmare. Are We There Yet was filmed in 2005. It was an American comedy film directed by Brian Levant. He is Suzanne's husband, and Kevin and Lindsay is the stepfather. The movie has quite a bit of crude humor and some strong language for a PG movie, but always turns out bad as planned.
At all. He's just like, I don't like kids. I don't know what to do with these kids. And he's like putting plastic around the thing.
See, in the middle of the movie, I just got so bored. Just like
How?
I watched the very beginning and I found interest in it, but then like more towards the middle, I just got so bored. Like I just didn't care about it anymore because there was just like a lot of things going on at once, and I'm just like, I don't really want to watch this. But then at the very end,
how it gets
I liked
all like
it.
romantic and everything. How
That
like the
part.
kids start to like him.
Right. That's when I found more interest in it again. Because I stopped watching in the middle because I'm just like, ugh, but then
I feel like they did that like on purpose, just to like see how like people react to it, and then like towards the end, like it makes you want to like finish
Come
it off.
back.
Yeah, I mean, I loved every minute of it. I loved that. I watched it
just
so
like
many
the
times.
kids, yeah.
Yeah, and then they have the bobblehead guy talking to him when it's really like his subconscious and
Yeah.
everything. And then
like what I liked the most about the movie was the fact that like he went from hating the kids, not even wanting to be like near
Yeah.
the kids, and then he like started caring for them so much. Like he even wanted to be like the dad figure into them, and it was like that's a nice thing because it's like not many people will like
Yeah.
want to change to make a woman happy, and it's like he did everything. Like he took care of them. He took them to their mom's event. He was there for them every moment. Even when the truck driver tried to take
Yeah.
him away and kidnap him, like he went right after them.
Yeah, especially like since the kids knew that the mom didn't have the father, just was on his own, and like they showed parts of it how the dad had like a kid with a different woman,
Yeah, and,
and
like,
he just
that
had his
broke
own
their
family,
heart.
so like the kids were really depressed and they didn't know what to do, and then after that they feel like that.
oh, I did Big Daddy, and well, see, now I go blank. Okay, so I chose this because it kind of reminds me of like my mom would just like let me do whatever I wanted. Like Julian in here, like we have Julian and Sonny, which Sonny is Adam Sandler and Julian is Colin Dylan Sprouts, which throughout the film they like switch them. So like they would do half of it with Cole and then they'd switch it back to Dylan. But it's basically about Sonny tries to impress his girlfriend when this kid comes to his house, which is Julian, and he kind of like, the kid was trying to like throw in his door, so it's like he has to take care of him, and you could see that like he doesn't know what to do with the kid. Just I feel like ours is kind of similar with he's like don't know what to do with the kid, but like throughout the way he tries to be a fatherly figure, and he learns that he actually really enjoys the kid and wants to actually be his father and adopt him. So then he does, and he goes back to his girlfriend and finds out that his girlfriend's cheating on him with this older man, which I thought was really funny because, he came out of the bathroom and he was like, Sonny like knocked at the door in the bathroom. He was like, "Who's in there?" And the old man comes out and he's like, "Oh, I thought you were sleeping with my girlfriend." And then he goes, "I am." And it's just so funny because like he's old and he's like, good luck with that loose skin and old balls. It's just like, I can't. It's just really funny. And like, it's PG-13, so the humor is, I feel like it could be like PG-13 to like maybe like mid-30s or whatever, because I feel like a lot of people can get along and get into it with the adult humor that it has, and also with Sonny and
It was really funny. Honestly, my favorite part was when like the little boy really had to go pee, and he just like they just pee on the wall and like in front of everyone, and like even the old ladies said something. They were like, "Oh, you know what? Whatever. Like we're just gonna keep doing our business." I'm like, "Oh my god, like this is funny," but it's like at the same time, it's like, "Oh man, like do we like really want kids seeing it?" But it's funny. It's a good movie.
Wait, can I just say? Okay, so there's this one part in McDonald's where they're trying to catch the McDonald's breakfast, and he goes in and he's like, and they're late from McDonald's, and he just like screams, he's like, "Can we get some McDonald's?" You remember? Yeah. And it's just like, imagining that in like real life, seeing somebody like yelling like that, it's just like so awkward, but like it was funny watching it. So
yeah, I think like the little kid is like adorable, and like it's just funny how like Sonny was just teaching him all this like bad stuff to do, and he was just like, he was liking it. Like it's not like he hated it, he was enjoying it. So it's like that like makes like the whole movie so funny. Or like the part when like Sonny teaches his friend how to roller skate, and so he tells the little boy Julian to put a stick so he falls into the lake. I think that was really funny.
And my favorite part of the movie was definitely when the kid had just gotten there and he peed in the bed overnight, and then they just put newspaper.
He's just like, "I don't want to deal with this. Let's just put newspaper down."
Or like when he eats cereal and he like spills it on the floor. All the milk, and he just put newspaper.
Yeah,
instead
he's
of,
just like, "I don't care."
Paper towels.
It's like
which was
he
his
didn't
way.
know. Right.
He just didn't know. Yeah.
And it's also like sad too, and like dramatic.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
dramatic
You
just
know?
because he doesn't
Yeah.
he doesn't want to give away the kid. I mean, he
Right.
got so used to him that.
And then at the end, when he actually has him, it's like he's happy, you know, like, you know, his girlfriend is like pregnant by someone else, but still, like, you know, the fact that he has the kid, he's happy, you know.
What's up? Episode 18 of This Made Me Laugh, featuring Jenna,
Amayrani.
Ewelina.
And Brooklyn.